Hey Salma, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you. I'm having some troubles like logging in
Logging into what?
to the event.
Oh, the main room.
Yeah.
So I was just in it. I'm pretty sure now they're gonna start sending people to the breakout to this room. But
Oh,
all
okay.
the just introduced themselves and Amanda's talking, so that's why I left and I came here.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we wanna like Oh, hi.
Hello, I'm sorry I'm in the car.
It's okay.
I literally just left the gym. Like literally, I'm literally still at the gym. My sister's doing cardio and I ran to the car.
Oh my god, multitasking.
Yeah, my life. So are you guys good with like moderating? Like I'll be here in the background, but I want you guys to like take the lead on it.
Yeah, I mean, I have the sheet of all the questions that he's going to address, but does he have them as well, or do we have to ask them?
He has it, but it's best to like ask them like, informally. So like the students are gonna trickle in, hopefully. But what you can do is you can kind of like open the floor for students to ask questions first. Be like, oh, like are there any students that may have some questions that you may want to ask? If you feel shy, like saying it out loud, like feel free to write them in the chat and we'll ask them for you. If not, we have a few general questions that we can ask the deans to kind of give you guys like more general information. And then you can start like asking those questions to kind of make students feel more comfortable. And also like any like filler questions. So like, let's say like there's not that many students or like they're kind of just quiet. You could just be like, okay, so like, what are some major initiatives that you guys have for the college? Like you could throw random things like that.
Okay.
But they have those questions. So like those are like mostly the major questions that students may ask. So you can start with like those, or anytime that like a student like raises their hand or you see like students trickle in randomly, you'd be like, oh, like if at any point like anyone has any questions, you can raise your hands or you can write it in the chat,
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
They were closing up the main room now, so they'll be joining in a few.
Okay.
So how are you guys doing?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
I had a ton of exams this week, so today's my first day without like absolutely anything, and I had dental school interviews too. So today's like my first day without anything. So I'm like so
Oh
like
my God.
stress relieved.
Wait, interviews for what?
For dental school.
Oh my God. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I had one at Tufts in Boston, so hopefully it went well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so scary. When do you graduate? Spring?
Yeah.
Me too. I literally don't even like thinking about it.
I know, it's rough.
It's like exciting, but at the same time, you're like, I don't know
Yeah.
what that looks like.
It's just so scary.
Yeah. It's funny because you have like so much of your life planned up until college, like dental, like your end goal is like dental school, and that's as much as it goes. Like for me, my plan is law school, and as far as it goes, I have no idea what's after that. So I'm terrified after that.
Literally.
I felt that.
Does somebody else join? Oh, someone's in the waiting room. Oh, it's someone else.
Wait, so are we admitting them?
Don't let them in yet. Wait for the deans to join.
Okay. Hey.
I was muted. Hi.
Okay.
Okay, if you want, let Dean Heighthouse in first, and then you guys can introduce yourselves and then let in the students.
Sounds good.
Okay, everybody, I just want you to know Case just won the Figure the Technology Out Award. All the other deans are trying to figure out how to hit their breakout room. So congratulations
oh my God, how
on
funny.
navigating your way here. We win.
We're gonna start letting in the students. They're in the waiting room. Are the associate deans gonna join as well?
They are probably, if it's like mine, I'm guessing everybody is somewhat stuck in waiting room. So we'll probably see them as part of the waiting room coming in. So let everybody in and we'll see where this goes.
Beautiful. We'll go with it.
And I apologize for derailing things right off the bat there at the top, but hey, it's
Oh,
Friday,
no,
it's
no,
6
no.
o'clock. We got to have some fun, right?
You're doing amazing, and we're happy you're here. It is Friday at 6
Yeah.
p.m., so we appreciate you. Trust
And
me.
I'm on at least 4 hours of sleep cumulative since Tuesday.
Oh my. I don't know how you do it.
And
I'm gonna
64 gallons of coffee is the answer.
I feel that. I really do. I'm
I
gonna
felt
let
that.
the students in.
Awesome.
Hi everyone. My name is Janelle and I'm the Speaker of the Senate. I'm just gonna wait for a few more people. I see their audios are connecting. Sorry, I apologize. I'm in a car. You know, we're multitasking here. It's a Zoom live. Okay, so welcome everybody. We're so happy to see you all here. My name is Janelle Fraga. I don't know if the other case senators want to introduce themselves. You're welcome to do so.
Hey guys, so I'm Senator Castelli. I'm also a senator in the case department. So yeah, if you guys need anything, feel free to let me know.
Hi, everyone. My name is Salma Tassi, Senator Tassi. I'm also one of the case senators. Also, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ari Salzman, Senator Salzman. I am a case senator, and I am also the chairman of the Rules, Legislation, and Judiciary Committee.
Once again, thank you all, and specifically thank you to Dean Highthouse for being here with us on a Friday at 6 p.m. We know a lot of students have a lot of questions about FIU right now in their college and what we're doing. So we're very appreciative that you're allowing students to kind of have an open forum of asking these questions.
No, it's my pleasure. Happy to be here, and and thank you for being here. I know after the law school and Dean Page made his pitch that he would talk about all things election. We probably had the stampede there, which is all good. But happy to answer any questions that you've got about spring majors, anything in the college. It's all open and on the table for how I can help you.
If any students have any questions, you're welcome to raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. It's open. Don't
type it in if you don't want to be on video. Whatever works for you. We got a small enough number. Feel free to just unmute and we can have a chat.
I could
We
start
have
off with one question. Yeah, I can start off with one question that I know a lot of people are wondering. How do you think how is CASE working on repopulating safely, or what do you think CASE is going to look like next semester, with the pandemic and everything going on?
Yeah, so that's my fault for mentioning crystal balls, right, in the introduction. So I think the first thing is that, everyone should know we've got about 3 or 4 different plans set up. So, we recognize that the world can change a lot between now and January, and even we expect it to change a lot over the course of January through the semester, as hopefully we start getting better treatments, we start getting, the first inklings of vaccinations coming out. So we're kind of prepared for wherever we are if cases go, around the country, cases are going up. But here in Florida, we didn't go up as fast as other places early on. And that might have been because people are outside in the winter here when they're stuck inside other locations. So, our hope is that we can have more face-to-face interactions with students in courses or outdoor activities, whether it's field courses, just because we know a lot of students do want to have that. We think that it's best in some courses. But we also recognize we're also trying to get way better at the synchronous remote, the fully online, and so that every modality that's available, we are better at in terms of working with the students. Because even face-to-face now is not like face-to-face before spring break last year. So, we really recognize that. I think, we're close to around 75-80% of our courses have at least a few meetings planned for the spring semester where people can come in and be face-to-face, even if the most is remote. But we've also tried with different classes to have lots of different options. So there's a face-to-face option that's going to be fewer students spaced out with masks. Others are going to be fully remote or online or a blend. And so, we're going to kind of duck and weave and adding new sections or moving things around based on where students register, because we want to try to, as much as possible, meet students where they are, because we know some people want to be on campus, other people want nothing to do with it. And really, we're leading with the two things. We want our students to be successful, and we want people to be safe. And hey, the sciences are in our college, so a lot of people like to say they're making science-based decisions, but we have people who are reading the latest research. They are sick of me in the emergency operations committee because I'm sending them stuff and be like, hey, look what University of Illinois, the test they just developed. If we could roll this out, we can be safer because everyone can know that day if they're, so that's the kind of level of keeping up with it. And I think one of the things that's most important for us is that we get good information flow, whether it's through advisors, through SGA, through the Dean's Student Advisory Committee, however we can get that information back on kind of the landscape students are seeing and how things are working and how they're not. It helps us, work with our faculty, our departments to get students what they need. And I think that we haven't been without our challenges, but from spring until now, just the differences we're seeing in terms of complaints and challenges students are having, it is just, we're actually at a level lower now than in a traditional face-to-face before the pandemic. And I think that's because the vast majority of our faculty are working really hard to figure out how to do this and to be very understanding of that. It's not just challenges in the classroom, it's challenge in life, the world, and everything for everyone now. So, we're kind of trying to treat everyone the same, student, faculty, staff, the same level of understanding of the challenges people have. But yeah, just wait a week. We'll have to change our plan. Is kind of how I'm seeing it. So we're trying to keep as much clarity for students registering as possible while still kind of keeping as many options open. And I think that's going to actually, if we're honest, it's going to continue into the summer and even the fall, where we can't expect to just go back to pre-pandemic overnight. And so, we're going to continue to be letting people know what we're thinking and what we're doing. And so that's one of the reasons we really want to know what our best options are for communicating with students, so they know what we're thinking, and we can have a dialogue and make sure everybody knows what's going on. But great question.
I see a lot of other students are joining in, so I just want to pop in and say, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask it at any moment, or you can see it in the chat if you don't feel comfortable speaking on the mic. But yeah, I know some of the senators had a few other general questions that students may have. You guys can continue asking.
Definitely. So how's it going, guys? So if a student is unable to enroll in a course because let's say it's full and there's no other courses that might be able to fit in their schedule, or it's the only class available, what can they do in order to maybe get put in the class?
Well, the first step is to work with your advisors, because our advisors, have been working really hard to look at the landscape that's out there, or to reach out to the departments to add a section, add options for students, or even work about what course might substitute for another one if we just can't make it work for some reason. One good thing with some of the synchronous remote and other pieces, it can be easier to get an extra person in a class, whereas it's much harder to do that face-to-face now, because with the social distancing guidelines, you just physically safely can't always add somebody to a classroom. But the vast majority of our lower division classes, we have every modality available. For upper division classes, departments have been super flexible if something's captive, figuring out another class that can work for them. So start with your advisor. If that doesn't work, department or the dean's office, we are all here to help navigate this for students, because we want to make sure everybody can get through, stay on time, get graduated, and be ready to get into the career, graduate school, professional school they want to get into next. And just so you know, I did actually offer up to the other deans, if they raised enough money for case student scholarships, I would do a TikTok dance video, which will be horribly embarrassing, but for y'all, I'll do it.
That sounds great. I
So
have a
you gotta
follow-up
help me figure
question
out
that
how much that's
has to-
really worth.
I have a follow-up question regarding that question that Senator Castelli asked. Some students were wondering if the statuses of classes would change. So if a class was in person, would it change to remote later on? If there's that possibility, or if something that's remote now would change to in person later on, is that a possibility? Or yeah.
Well, right now we are really going to try to stick with the modalities that we have. And if there's more demand for one modality during registration, we'd rather add a section than change the modality. That said, if the public health situation changes, we're not going to, try to stuff around peg into a square hole and say, we're going to do this. I mean, we saw that with the delayed on-campus start this semester when things were not very good at the beginning of this semester. So we're certainly holding that back. I think it's a little less likely that we would move something from remote to on campus, unless vaccine comes out. All of a sudden, there's a lot more availability than we expect there would be sooner. I think what would be more likely is that we would create recitation sections, opportunities in labs for kind of like 1 day or few hour training sessions to pick up skills like 0 credit workshops that you might have missed because you were remote. But I think that we'd rather do those optional things rather than change the modality of the classes, unless it's moving things remote to be safe, because we can't get back on campus. But that right now isn't something we're expecting to do. But like I said, we've got lots of plans within plans to be as safe but as minimally disruptive as possible. Because we know students are planning their schedules based on the modalities they're given now. So, we don't want to put someone in a position where they're in one place and then all of a sudden are expected to be in another after they've made their plans.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. So, I mean, if people don't have questions, any thoughts? Instagram, Facebook Live, Zoom chat, town halls. Are you guys like so town halled out you don't want to see another one? That's a fair answer too. But it's been one of our challenges, I think, is the college really getting our message out so people are aware of all the opportunities and have those conduits. So Janelle, I know, has been working on this quite a bit, and we did do a Facebook Live earlier in the pandemic that I think went okay. John, sorry, this is just for the College of Art, Sciences, and Education. Engineering's another link that they sent out for those questions. Because if I answer engineering questions, I cannot guarantee the answers will be remotely correct. We'll get that link up there. Thank you, Janelle.
I just sent the
Boy,
link.
Salma, that was fast. Got it up there right away. Thank
I have
you.
the document right here.
I was trying to look for the link and then you sent it. So thank you for that.
I think,
Of course.
Janelle, I would suggest watch the road.
I'm not the
So
one
good.
driving, luckily. It's my sister's driving,
Oh,
guys.
good.
This is the Zoom life is multitasking. The good thing is you could be in multiple places at once. So I enjoy that.
And in case you think that deans are immune to that, today, I think I was on a Zoom with phone calls coming in, trying to get my daughter on virtual kindergarten. Which, if you want to know why I always have to have a Zoom background, it's because the quietest place in the house is often in my daughter's room. So otherwise you would be getting unicorns and rainbows.
I feel you. I have to run to my garage to get a quiet place in my house too. But if any students want to pop in and just say, what do you guys feel is the best form of communication? I feel like this is something that SGA kind of struggles with too. Because we always want to hear from the students, what are the current concerns, what can we do better, because at the end of the day, SGA and your college, we're all here to advocate for you. So what do you guys feel is the best way, we can kind of communicate with you guys and get all this information and kind of create this transparency between, us and all the students within our college? Anybody can jump in.
My question is, what has worked in the past? Like, has anything really worked, or is this always like an ongoing problem?
It tends to be an ongoing challenge, and this is not limited to students. I mean, this happens with and it's from the deluge of information, right? I mean, email tends to be effective, but it seems like when we put things out, we'll still have people come back and say, hey, what we really need to do is this one thing. And we've been sending out emails and tweets and whatever else about that thing for months, and people just, haven't gotten it. And I get it. I do it too. I mean, I get so many emails a day. I'm like, delete, 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 if it doesn't look important. Or it gets buried in the deluge of other things and I miss it. And so, that's it. It's just one of those things. And, we struggle with it, and, we want to find that way to communicate better, and, maybe even think about, like what kinds of events can we do that would get better turnout, where people would, enjoy coming out. Obviously that, we were starting to put some plans together for that. This whole pandemic thing kind of derailed some of our career fair and opportunities in case in-person events ideas. But don't know if that would be something that would get a lot of people in virtually now that we're in this field, or if we should be thinking about that when eventually we are back face to face, because every day we're one day closer. So, I mean, the email, that better, or
Because I know that
events like this?
there is a website with, ongoing news. Does that seem to get a lot of traffic, or does people not go to it, or?
It doesn't get a ton of traffic. I mean, the websites in the college that get the most traffic from students are usually like navigating process type things. Kind of the news and opportunities is a little bit less well traveled. And again, that might be that we just haven't gotten the word out enough on it. But we have a whole page where we're constantly putting news, but also opportunities for internships, jobs, graduate fellowship opportunities. So we're trying to put it out there. But I mean, I think it's a challenge that is not unique to FIU, to the college, or anywhere. It's just, how do you cut through and be a place where folks know to go to get that information, and we'll take the time to do it.
What are some things that we're planning for the spring? So I know that, repopulation that conversation is kind of coming about, and we're looking how events are going to look like in this new era. So what does the college see happening in this spring semester?
Well, we're still working on what that looks like, and I guess we'd love some feedback and thoughts on it. I thought our caravan that we did for homecoming was a great success. Our events team we ended up teaming up with the president's office, because we got lots of cool sponsorships they didn't. So we helped them out, because Candace, who works with us, she is just spectacular, and has been doing a great job for us. So she's always trying to find out what are some things that would be fun for students, and informative too. So we were thinking about but before the pandemic, of having big student festival type day with internships, faculty opportunities there. And so we could think about maybe, if there'd be interest in doing some kind of caravan on that, where there'd be opportunities to learn things, go around. Again, things may change a bit if we start to get vaccinations out and get the infections under control. But we've also been wondering, what are some of those events that would be super useful or interesting enough to get the turnout to those. But we don't have the plans yet because we have been really focused on the repopulation. The other thing that we're trying to figure out right now is also, how many advisors we're going to have on campus versus keeping them remote. Because and we'll probably actually keep the remote advising option to a bigger degree, even once the pandemic's over, because we're finding that can be a lot more effective for students and not having to stick around on campus, traipse across campus. And advisors are able to have a similar level of interaction with students. And now that we're all used to Zoom land, it feels pretty personable rather than detached. So that's the other kind of thing we're trying to get feedback from students in terms of what would you like to see from the college to help you get where you want to go.
That caravan was very, very successful. I wish I would have been able to attend my.
Yeah, that one. Well, and I think
but
based on that, they're actually thinking, we're thinking about, do we do something similar for graduation, for example? So, we can't have graduation, but maybe we can have a caravan type event to get people through and just do something that has a little bit more sense of community, maybe than the virtual commencement. But, look, I hope that in a couple semesters here, I have to go up there and do 24 commencements, because everybody who graduated wants to come back and walk across that stage. Because that is one thing the university is still committed to, that anybody that wants to get the cap and gown, wants to be there for a ceremony and graduate, get their name called and walk across that stage, is going to be able to do that. And I know I've now had 2 PhD students who graduated during this pandemic. And so I'm personally very hopeful that they're going to be able to make it back to town so they can get their hoods and get that moment on stage after all those years of work. So, hopefully we'll start to add the caravans or those things while we still have to do the virtual commencement, because even in the stadium, you just can't get enough people in there to not do like 60 days of commencement. But once we're able to get back and be in bigger crowds, I am really looking forward to those days.
Yes, I do know that the president's office is working on something similar to that for graduation. I don't know if the students saw the petition that went around where students, were kindly asking the president's office to seek some of these alternatives, and the president's office is working with those students to find something more in the middle that we can do safely, so that we don't risk anybody's lives to COVID, because at the end of the day, we are in the midst of a pandemic. But we do want to celebrate these achievements, because it's not every day that you graduate,
Yeah, well, and they didn't take my idea, which was to steal Rory's t-shirt gun, load it up with the faux degrees, and then the president could just kind of shoot them into windows as people drove by. They said that was a horrible idea. I don't know why.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I don't know why they didn't take that idea. I would have loved that.
There's no production value thoughts, It's probably because students would then want that for the real ceremonies when it goes back, right?
I have a question. So speaking of the caravans and things that we could possibly do for students that are graduating, does that look like something that could happen this semester for graduating students in the fall? Or is that looking like something that's going to happen in the spring, or both?
Unfortunately, I just don't have an answer for that. I know they're thinking about what some of the options are. They haven't let the deans know kind of what the plan is. My understanding is it's probably not going to be like a graduation by drive-through, but some kind of event like we had for homecoming or something to, as Janelle mentioned, to celebrate, hey, here's an achievement and what we might do. I mean, this is something we're thinking about. We got to let the president's office and the university kind of decide what they want to do. But, if they're not going to do it, it might be something that we think about in the college of just kind of having that as an event for people to be able to, drive through, do something and get a great job and a thank you from a lineup of the college. So stand by for more.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but
Oh,
from the
no, no.
president's town hall, I believe he mentioned that on November 16 is when they're going to be making an announcement about more details about, the car van celebration.
Excellent. You can usually assume that the deans will be the last to know.
Do any other senators or students have any questions, points of discussion, or just, anything that you may just want more clarification on?
You all
And
can,
it can be something ridiculous too. I mean, I'm, hey,
I was gonna say, for any students who are here, you all can feel free to also drop your questions in the chat or unmute yourselves, whatever you feel most comfortable doing.
I'm not that intimidating. I'm really not, or at least I don't think so. I'm loud, but not intimidating.
You're not. Trust me, you're my favorite kind of dean. I have another question that I think that students may want to hear, or it's kind of interesting, just to see the college's perspective. What are some of the things that the college is prioritizing for spring 2020?
Well, I mean, really, honestly, the top priority for us is getting classes delivered in the most effective way possible, and that's the combination of the planning that we have to do for how we get the on-campus portions done, whether it's the face-to-face classes or this new modality of kind of high flex, where some time on campus and some remote synchronous. It's making sure any classes that are remote, that we are doing the absolute best we can to teach those courses effectively. And then really planning kind of for the repopulation of staff. So it's kind of that combination of safety, student support, and absolute high quality delivery is really a big priority. At the same time, we're really trying to push forward with some of our communications initiatives too. The university as a whole has a strategic goal of being recognized as a top 50 university in the country. You'll notice I say not become a top 50 university, because I can tell you the quality of the students, faculty, and staff here, we are definitely in the top 50. There are just some folks out there that don't know it yet and haven't heard about it. So, we're working pretty hard to figure out how do we communicate effectively to a bunch of different audiences. As we were talking about, how we communicate with our students internally is really important, but then how do we get the word out about FIU? So, that's another piece that we're working on. And, we're also going to be hiring more faculty, bringing in the best of the best from around the world. And, those individuals will be providing a lot of great opportunities for students, both undergraduates and graduate students. And then, some of the pieces the events team's working on is how do we do things and create events virtually or, pseudo face-to-face that we can to just bring that sense of community together and help students. And I think that and this gets into communication too. One of the things that this virtual world has given us is just some incredible programming by places like our Center for Humanities and an Urban Environment, the Geopolitical Summit, and they're bringing experts from around the world to have really impactful and meaningful conversations. And I guess one of the things I didn't put this as a spring priority, because it's something the college has actually been working on long before some of these triggering events that brought it to national prominence happened. But diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really creating an atmosphere, not just for our students, but pipelines for students to graduate school, to even into opportunities in faculty, is something that we've really been focused on. And even with the pandemic, this is not something that I see as the cherry on top you do when you can. It is absolutely foundational to who we are, what we need to do. And FIU doesn't need to be part of the conversation. We need to be leading the conversation. And so that's something that we will continue to really push on. And I think that the place where we can do better is, I think we've done an incredibly good job in having the conversation and starting to move things at kind of the faculty level. And we need to do a lot better job I think now talking to the students besides just having roundtables and focus groups. So I think that's something that I'd love to see working with SGA and our student representatives, is to really think about, what does a meaningful process look like? Town halls are great, but kind of just like this event, certain things, people may not want to talk, or you don't get the time to really discuss issues that are important. And so, I think that for me, we've been kind of running to just try to push things forward, get things done. But I think that we are now at a point where we need to think about, how do we have more meaningful and sustained, not just dialogue, but action planning, because you can talk all day, but if you don't see policy changes or changes that actually shift, whether it's the numbers, the perceptions, the feelings that individuals have about whether they have a place here or heard, or what they see for themselves, we haven't done our job. So that's another thing that to me is very important, and that I want to see us focusing on more. And I talk too much.
I honestly couldn't agree with you more, especially when it comes to having action plans and policy changes. That's one of the things that we've been trying to do a lot this year. Our senators have been passing a lot of resolutions, and just trying to advocate for all these issues that are happening in today's time. And I apologize for the red light. It's a red light. What can I do? But
no, Halloween ended a few days ago. It's good. Yeah, good mood lighting.
Yeah, it's my new lighting. But it's all about making sure that we're being those representatives and that change for our students and what's happening right now at this day and age, because that's what people need. People need to know that they're being heard and represented, and that for those issues that are happening, that they're not just being like brushed under the rug, and something is being changed about them.
Absolutely.
I know one of our senators had another question. Go ahead.
So yes, so I do know that the laboratory facilities for, let's say, chemistry are open for graduate students, so they could work on their work or just assignments. Do you know by any chance if it's open for undergraduate students as well, per se, if they have a research opportunity, or there's maybe an orgo and they want to get their hands on the equipment and just avoid doing that all virtually? Because I know they're offering virtual labs right now, for example, in Chem 2, Chem 1, maybe in Orgo. But for students that do not want to lose those hands-on, like the experience they have with those equipment, do you know if it's available for undergraduate students as well, like those laboratories?
Yeah, so right now we're in a little bit of a transition phase. So undergraduates that are part of research projects can get access to labs kind of the way that graduate students can, where there's, the faculty that run the labs have to put in a request, have the safety plan in place where people are spaced out. We've got schedules. But from the teaching lab perspective right now, the departments have actually done a lot of planning for, we're calling them 0 credit workshops, where it's very skills based to learn how to use specific machines or do specific tests. And the idea is that, right now we're just kind of ramping up what we can do in the labs in terms of how many people we can get in there for how long. And so as we are able to use more and more labs, our plan is to offer these very frequently, even if we have to go on, have them on Sundays, because our goal, and we're going to open this up for people that graduate and need to come back, because I want anyone who was a student here that wanted those skills hands-on to be able to get them. It's a little bit of a safety and a scheduling issue right now, but our expectation is to be offering more hands-on opportunities in the labs for undergraduates in the spring as part of class, like official labs. And then in the spaces where we have labs open that we don't have classes in there, we're going to find a way to catch up to get students those skills. Because look, we're doing the best we can virtual, but we know depending on the career path you're on, you got to know how to use a mass spec. You got to know how to do these things. And I know we've got Kevin Lothridge is on here. I'm lucky he hasn't asked me any really hard questions. He's the director of our Global Forensics and Justice Preeminent Program, and he knows a thing or two about labs. So, he can jump on and talk about this if he wants, but he can tell you how important it is that we get students that hands-on experience if they need it.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to hearing from us how we're going to do it.
So I think some of the things we're trying to do is virtualize machines so that you can set from your location wherever you are and still have close to the same experience. We'll use GAs and TAs to load samples on so you can actually operate equipment. But we're also doing a series of interactive videos so that we can virtualize the best we possibly can. Outside of some of the systems that FIU has used, we're really trying to give you the practical application because we realize it's really important. And one of the things that we look at are the green thumbs you need to have, right? Not just the theoretical knowledge, but you need to be able to actually use your thumbs. And that's a big key for us.
Oh, so that must have been my problem a while ago. Dang it.
So we're looking at this. I don't know that this is going to change a lot because until we do have a vaccine or we do have enough space and that we can socially distance, we have a lot of experience because we teach people that are U.S. military folks how to do this work. So it's something that we're pretty good at, and we're translating that back to the FIU students. But simple things like being able to use TeamViewer and allowing you to access a GCMS or UV or rapid DNA or any of the systems you want from chemistry or biology makes a lot of sense these days because it also helps us even in the equipment that we have on campus now. So always glad to help, and anything we can do, that would be great. I just wanted to join because I like to hear what the students have to say, and it's a good thing you keep the dean on his toes.
And one other thing, this is down the road a bit, but one of the interesting things that we've got, you may have seen FIU now has a futurist in residence, but this is somebody who actually specializes in like mapping real spaces and creating very interactive VR environments where you could actually even like use your phone in the Google Cardboard or in the Cardboard settings and actually be in a lab and as if you're manipulating the machines themselves. So it ain't as good as actually feeling the instrument there, although you don't go through your breakage allowance as fast. And I really could have used that in college because I got there in one lab session of organic. That's why I'm a biologist and I work on big things. Harder to break a shark than a piece of glassware. But the idea is in the next couple semesters or year, we hopefully will virtualize in a much more authentic way a lot of these pieces of equipment. So, and we're going to prioritize the people that really want and need those experiences because some people need the theory and they're on career paths where they don't need the green thumbs that Kevin talked about, but other people absolutely do, and we're going to make sure that we provide that in the best way as we possibly can when it needs to be virtual, and then physically when the situation will let us.
And the bridge between that, we can use AR, right? For you folks that are good on the technology, we can use HTML5 and we can do a lot of things, but it really requires somebody to give you the real data output so that you can do the analysis on the data output. So not sure what everybody's background is or what they're doing, but we are, if you're familiar with DNA analysis, we're doing rapid DNA analysis in 90 minutes, but we're doing it like a cooking show. We actually show them how it's done. We put the swab in that we've swabbed some DNA on, and then we have one that we've been running. And now we're really concentrating on the output, right? So buttonology, as we like to call it, is not so important. The technology, the equipment is much more user-friendly than those of us that are older, and I'm much older than your dean, so I can say that. But right now, the technology is extremely user-friendly and robust. So it allows for this virtualization. If we had talked about this 20 years ago, there'd be no chance in the world that we could do this. But with the ability to have good internet connections and even with Zoom, I can actually Zoom on the instrument itself and turn over control to you, right? Just like we do letting you share screens. So we do this globally. So for us to do it from Miami to Miami, not much of a challenge.
Yeah, I might need you to come talk to my internet service provider, AT&T, about that high quality internet. Oh,
Buy a
wait, this is
5G
being recorded.
buy a 5G cell phone. Everybody should have a 5G cell phone. That's all I'll say.
I don't change mine until they die. I made it from the iPhone 6 to the 10S.
That's
Only then because
an accomplishment.
somebody dropped a pot on my 6 and destroyed it.
So I'm an Android guy.
I'm sure it was an accident.
I got a new S20 FE. It's probably the best phone I've ever had in my life. And what's really scary to me is we can do things on our phone and on our tablets that we can never do on a research grade instrument or computer that I've had when I was going to school.
Yeah. And back in the old days, we also had to walk uphill both directions in the snow to school, in case you were wondering.
Whereas I can't get anywhere without a GPS because I am directionally. I cannot.
I think every student should have a compass just to see that they know where they're going, not on their phone, to learn some skills.
Wait, but your phone has a compass. It's an app. You can download it, Kevin.
Let's go old school though, sir.
Yeah, no.
Can we
Excellent. Any other questions? Even if it's what is wrong with me now.
And not because he's my boss, but you have the coolest dean at all of FIU, just so you know.
Have to agree. I think all the senators agree.
And what's really
I will at
funny is
least
they're like,
cause the
do
most
you know
trouble."
the shark guy? I'm like, yeah, I know the shark guy.
Why do they call you the shark guy?
Well, because it sounds better than the turtle guy, I guess. Just ask Anderson Cooper. But well, no, it's because I'm a marine biologist. We work on sharks, sea turtles, and dolphins in the lab, and I usually have a show on Shark Week or Shark Fest once a year. So I do that TV thing, and that was one of the weird things about my winding weird career is my job right before I came to FIU as an assistant professor in biology, it was at National Geographic, where I was hosting a TV show and building cameras that we put on animals. So in a different life, I was a TV guy, and I still do a little bit of it where I've figured out to the millimeter how big the FIU logo can be before they blur it out on TV. So we get that FIU brand all over every year. So as long as COVID lets us, we'll be doing a show called Sharks versus Alligators that'll be on National Geographic this summer. And since everybody else's shows are dying because of COVID, we may end up with a few more because we can still go out and do a little bit here. But we also are training a lot of our graduate students to take over the mantle of being the on-camera talent here. So my student Frances Faribaugh, she did one on Sharks versus Dolphins last year, and looks like she's going to have another one this year. So, we want to start doing a better job at telling our story of all the amazing stuff we're doing at FIU around the world. And we actually brought in Dr. Maria Mayer, who is a primatologist. She has studied, she's actually found new species of lemurs in Madagascar. National Geographic Explorer wrote a book called Pink Boots and a Machete about her life from going from Miami Dolphins cheerleader to the people. This is kind of a terrible thing to say now, but I guess Harrison Ford called her the female real Indiana Jones. So we've got her actually on staff in the College of Art Sciences Education now, and her job is to train our students, especially grad students, in science communication. So, those are some of the cool things going on in your college, and we want to let everybody know about the resources here and the great things our students, faculty, and staff are doing. And they don't actually call me Shark Guy. I think they actually call me Shark Boy.
Like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. We love that.
Which Dean Schreiner is Lava Girl. Because he started, said, I'll be Shark Boy if you're Lava Girl. So if somebody wants to make that GIF, that would be awesome.
It's on the agenda next Senate. The Student Advocacy Committee's on it.
Yeah.
Well, if there aren't any other questions from the students who are on this call or from the senators, thank you so much for being here. Dean Hidehouse, and thank you so much, Mr. Lothridge, for being here as well. We really appreciate you all for being here and for being being a part of the first Meet Your Dean event.
We always happy to be here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and let's do more of them.
Definitely.
Glad, if you ever have any questions on forensic science, I'll be glad to answer it.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
Kevin
much.
has all the fun stuff too. So, Excellent. Well, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and see you around Zoom,
Zoom University.
and hopefully back on campus in the not too distant future.
Hopefully, very soon.
Okay. Have a great one.
Bye, everyone.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.